Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad and the Odd with your host Mark and Sam. Today we're going to be talking about a film from, I think it's the 90s, I'm not entirely sure, called Dagon.
2001.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at that.
It felt
from the title, I was sort of expecting like something from the 60s, honestly.
Yeah.
And when you told me it was based off Shadow over Innsmouth instead of the Dagon book, I assumed it would be like The Haunted Palace.
So you thought it was going to be one of that. So this was a bit of a show. Anyway, we'll get to that when we get to it. Let's first, I'll just do the usual opening stuff. If you want to contact us, www.thegoodthebadandtheodd.com is the place. Look at our website and you see various contact links. We're also available. We're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're on all sorts of RSS feeds. Just go to that page and have a look. We've also got a forum which is pretty quiet, to be honest, but I think at some point I might just take that down because we're not really getting anyone on it. The thing is, I've changed the security settings because we're getting massive amount of spammers. So you have to be activated, and I just don't have time to go and check. Like hundreds of people are people, you know, in quotes, are registering, and I have to just judge from the names whether they sound like spammers or not, and they all sound like spammers. So it's like I don't know if any of these people are real, so it's kind of tricky. So my suggestion is to anyone listening, if you do want to join on the forum, message me on Facebook as well, Mark the Good, the Bad and the Odd. Oh no. You could get the link from our website. And
tell
let
them
me
the
know.
name you've registered with as well. So
my name. Tell us the name you've registered with.
Bob the cat or something.
Yeah, so I know who it is, and then I can just pass you as a good user, and that'll be it. But the thing is, I've found in the past when you kind of have to restrict sites like this, no one joins because it's like too much hassle. But then when you open it up, millions of spammers join because it's so easy. It's like Anyway, all right then. Let's pull up the comfy chair.
Get the comfy chair.
Okay. I've got 4. How about you?
I've got 4, but 2 of them could be easily considered the same thing. So.
It doesn't really matter. I don't mind going first if you want to.
Me neither.
All right, I'll go first. My one's really quick. I finished off season 1 of The Night Gallery. I've been watching this for over a year. That. Say again?
I need to watch that. I remember seeing the like, I think it was a pilot, and it just completely blew me away.
Was that the one with Ozzie Davis and Roddy McDowall?
It was the one with
the painting.
Where there was the Nazi living in, that one.
Yeah, I mean they all focus around works of art because it's set in an art gallery at night kind of thing. It's not the bookend story really. It's just a presenter talking about it. It's Rod Serling, in fact, talking about it. I mean, Night Gallery is his second most famous series, and his first one's The Twilight Zone, so it's kind of hard to live up to that. But I actually quite like The Night Gallery. It's full of slightly supernatural and certainly darker. Twilight Zone can be a bit light and fluffy.
Yeah.
You know, it pretends to be dark, but it's really it likes people. Where Night Gallery is much more.
Night Gallery does not care.
Misanthropic. It's kind of darker. Anyway, there's only 6 in the first season. I've literally taken over a year to watch it. It's just been so long. Whereas in subsequent seasons, there's like more like 20 episodes, and they're 50 minutes each, and they have 2 or 3 or sometimes even 4 stories. It's like watching a little mini Amicus film, kind of. That's how it kind of feels, because there's always more than one story, so it's kind of cool like that. And I liked it. I've got the DVDs and I've got files with it, so I'll pass them on to you next time I see you if you want to watch it.
Okay.
The last one wasn't great, but there were some really good stories in this. In fact, the first couple were probably the best stories out of the lot.
Yeah, I remember. It's the guy who kills his grandfather or something for inheritance.
Yeah,
it's the Nazi in South America.
Yeah,
and then is it the woman who wants her eyes?
I think that's
fixed?
the second one actually. I think that's the second episode. But but there is that. But I think that's Betty Davis, if I remember rightly.
Wow,
it's pretty fun. I could be wrong. It might be. I'm not sure. Anyway, it was fun. Anyway, back to you.
Yeah. Okay. Now, recently the Guild Wars 2, has got its first expansion called The Heart of the Thorns.
Oh, you dig Guild Wars, don't you?
Yeah, I really like it. Now, I say this is almost two separate things because it kind of is, but it's also started its Halloween celebration.
Nice.
So if you go to like the main hub area called Lion's Arch, there's all jack-o'-lanterns, and you can play loads of like Halloween themed mini games and all sorts of stuff, and it's really fun. You've got like this crazy Mad King who like lords it over Halloween called Mad King Thorn. He's got a pumpkin for a head and whatnot. And
right.
it's really easy to play, sort of get into it, and if you play it now, say if a new guy started, this has kind of helped you get into the game because it's like it shows you the late game stuff really early.
Right. Oh, cool.
And Heart of the Thorns is like the continuation of the main story, which is trying to kill all these elder dragons. And this one, you're chasing down a like one themed around plants and mind control.
Yeah.
It's a weird. They've all got weird combinations, but so yeah, you're fighting the plant-themed dragon in a jungle.
Cool.
So,
that sounds rather fun.
Yeah.
So it's oh no, we've talked about this loads of times. It's a PC game, isn't it?
Yeah, PC only, I think.
Is it online?
Yeah, it's an MMO game. So
is it
you're
only
constantly
online?
running on, yeah.
Yeah. I can never get into that because I hate people.
Yeah. Actually, I did level my like main character up to max level without joining any of the social stuff. But once I did,
cool.
it was actually really fun.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. If you dig that, that's cool. But I just find people are dicks. I think I'm more used to them games where basically if you haven't had loads of practice, people just kill you straight away. And it's like, then they kill you. And then they kill you. And then they kill you. But I guess
there's no player versus player unless you actively choose it. So people won't just kill you.
Oh, well, that's okay.
People in Guild Wars 2 are actually far more helpful than they are in other MMOs.
Well, that's cool.
Like, if the whole game is kind of built around helping people, so like, you can't really kill Steel, for example.
Right.
There's others, but I can't think of.
They basically design it in, don't they? So that people avoid being dicks.
Well, people can't be dicks, so that's kind of forced the dicks out. So.
Yeah, they can go elsewhere and be dicks, like Call of Duty. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sounds good. Good. Okay, is it my turn?
Yeah.
All right. And my next one is a bit of a follow-on from one I did last week or the week before. I can't remember which. Probably the week before. Pitch Perfect 2. Came to Pitch Perfect 2. Yeah, not as good as the first. Nowhere near. The first was, though it was kind of shallow. It was kind of, they hit all the right beats and it was fun and you felt you were watching something relatively fresh. Pitch Perfect 2 was kind of, they had already become kind of caricatures of themselves. But there was some funny stuff. In particular, the only thing that I thought was even funnier in this than the first one was the comments of the two hosts of the competitions. It was Elizabeth Banks, who's also the producer of the film, bizarrely, and another guy who I can't remember, who reminds me a bit of a Fred Willard, who I'm not sure you know. Oh, I know who Fred Willard is. He's the dad of in Modern Family, Phil Dunphy, his dad, who turns up in that's Fred Willard. But he also reminds me of Phil Dunphy. I mean, they're quite similar. This presenter, but it is neither of those. But it's just, he says really dickish things that are very sexist. He says, well, these girls have been practicing really hard because, you don't have to study at college when you're a girl because you're going to just get married and have babies after college anyway. Like
Jesus.
And Elizabeth Banks is saying arch things back to him, saying, yeah, I would expect you to say that, and something like that. But it's funny. It's funny. And Rebel Wilson's in it, the kind of the large blonde girl. She's funny because she says things like, yeah, people are going to see us and see me and say, how is the most talented one is not even American because they're going in the world final. She goes, but I still count because I'm fat. Which made me laugh too. But it wasn't great. It was like a 5 out of 10 tops, really. Yeah. The first one,
Fred Willard's been in a film called Black Jesus.
Fred Willard. The reason I say Fred Willard, I think, is because I think the first time I saw this kind of commentator saying goofy things, which I think was also done in Dodgeball, is I remember him in a film called Best in Show about dog shows. And he'd be saying really goofy. He was like a generic presenter who'd been tasked to do this dog show, and he'd be saying things like, "Do they get those costumes? You know, is there like a doggy tailor?" Yeah. Well, in fact, no. That sounds reasonably a sensible question. He'd go off completely off the ball asking it, and I'm pretty sure he was like ad-libbing a lot of it, and it was really funny. And that was the first time I've seen a goofy, mental presenter.
Yeah.
Who thought he was like a pro at his job, just saying stupid things. Anyway, yeah. So I've gone on way too much about Pitch Perfect 2. So back to you.
Okay, there's been a recent-ish anime series. You may have heard of it, called Attack on Titan.
Oh yes, I've heard of that.
And the people who made the manga have decided to popularize on this by making about 1,000 different parodies of it, or continuations of the story, or all this other stuff. So there's stuff like about before the events of Attack on Titan. There's all sorts. One I'm bringing to attention here is one called Attack on Titan Shugako, I think it was called.
Yeah. Was it drawn?
Yeah, it's an animated thing.
Oh, it's animated, right?
Yeah, it's an anime. But it's Attack on Titan High School.
What?
Mainly, the whole point is they play it completely straight in the goofy stuff they're doing. So, like, instead of Titans eating people, they steal lunches. But the people react exactly... Remember how they were always, like, screaming and shouting
and everything.
Yeah, they're still like that about their lunches. It's really funny.
Weird. So they're like very... This almost sounds like, in software, when I develop software, so in software, sometimes people make it open source, so then other people can tinker with it as well. And
it was
a massive community. So he did loads of different parodies?
Yeah, he's like... They commissioned them and then just let them run wild with it, because this one, the animated version, uses the same voice actors as the proper series.
I mean, there must be demand for it if he's doing all this.
I think high school comedies are a big thing in Japan, because there are quite a few.
It used to be an American thing in the 80s. Weird. Is it fun then?
It was kind of fun, but it was funny for the first episode, but then they started introducing really weird character quirks so you know how there was the blonde kid that was always complaining and crying and weepy?
Yep.
Yeah,
I could never tell it was a boy or a girl.
His parents have been eaten by titans is because he's cold.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
They really drop the ball, so he's constantly running around with a duvet over him. It's stupid.
Are you going to carry on watching it then?
No, probably not.
Oh, okay. Okay, my next one is a horror film, which I quite liked. It's a franchise, in fact, and I've heard good things about it. Though since watching this first one, when I talk to people about it, they say, yeah, the first one's the only good one. So I'm not entirely sure it's as good as I was first led to believe, but I'm going to try the second one to see. And then, anyway, the film is Final Destination. Have you heard of this one?
Yeah, I've heard of it. This is the one where people go into really obviously dangerous stuff and then get killed.
Not really. This was basically, the premise was these high school kids were all going to Paris, and as soon as they get on a flight, one of the guys has a premonition, quite very, very, very vivid, like in this entire sequence of how they all die. And then he kind of wakes up, and the first thing he does is what he did in the premonition. So then he kind of freaks out, and basically he demands to be let off the plane. One of the teachers has to leave, because the students leaving. A few others stop. One starts punching him because he's being a dick, or it's like the school bully. It's not quite the bully, but he's kind of handy with his fist. He starts punching him, so he gets thrown off the plane. His girlfriend goes with. Basically, about 7 of them get off the plane, and they're arguing in the departure lounge about what an idiot he was and all this. And as they're arguing, the plane blows up. Outside.
Do they explain it?
They explain why the plane's blown up. But essentially, it's he has this premonition, and they think that because they were destined to die, they're still going to die and death still after them. And weird accidents keep happening to them. So they're getting knocked off one at a time in odd ways. In some ways, it reminded me a bit of The Omen, the supernatural deaths in The Omen, when someone tries to sort of discover something about Damien, something weird happens to him. It was a bit of that, and people start dying, and it's kind of an action horror. Let's put it that way. I mean, it's barely a horror because it's not scary, but it's a horror, supernatural horror film. But it's more action than anything. And it was kind of, it was fun. It was fun. It was, I kind of liked it. It reminded me of other films, earlier films. For example, there was a film in the 90s called Stir of Echoes with Kevin Bacon, and he was like seeing premonitions of death. And there was another film in the 80s, which was one of these sort of Brat Pack films called Flatliners, where these group of medical students were trying to experiment with things and were actually killing each other and then reviving each other 2 minutes later. They wanted to flatline and then be brought back, and that led to spooky stuff. It kind of reminded me of that. It was fun though. I liked it. 7 out of 10 I'd give it.
Okay.
Right, I've got one more after this. You got any more?
I got one more.
Go on then.
Okay, mine is Doom BFG edition.
Oh, what's this on? What platform?
This is on Xbox 360, and it's
it a new one?
No, it's fairly old.
Okay.
We've had it for a while. I may have actually talked about it in the podcast a long time ago.
I don't remember. I remember us talking about Doom, I think, but BFG edition. Yeah, go on then.
Yeah, the BFG edition is all of the current Doom games in one, and all expansions and whatever.
Cool. So is it still pixely and all that?
Yeah, well, the original two are still pixely, but the third one's it's got its full 3D sort of thing going for it.
Right, cool. It's good fun, isn't it, Doom?
Yeah, it's so much fun to just run around and shoot, just go nuts with the guns.
The trouble is, if you spend more than 10 hours a day playing stuff like that, if you then go into a place with corridors, you start kind of imagining there's going to be a big pink floating thing coming out of a doorway as you approach it.
It's even worse in Doom 3, because Doom 3,
I bet.
the place you're in Doom 3 is must be designed by the same people that make Scooby-Doo mansions. Because the second you walk past something, a door behind you opens.
Ooh.
And it's not keyed to picking something up like in Doom, so you can expect it.
Right.
It's just you walk past it.
Yeah, okay.
Imps, heads,
yeah,
zombies. Everything.
So you're having fun with that, though?
Yeah, it's fun.
Cool.
So much fun.
Right, my last one is an Australian horror film from 2015, which I've actually been on another podcast about, so I'm not going to talk about it too much here, because you can go off and listen to that podcast where I talk about it way more. But it was a really great horror film, really good, called The Babadook.
It's about Wendigos, right?
No,
bunyips. Sorry.
No, it's not about anything. It's about this distinct. It's its own thing. The monster itself kind of harks back to the 20s and expressionism. It's got a bit of the Phantom of the Opera, a bit of Nosferatu about it, a bit of...
Hell, I'm looking at a picture of it.
Yeah, it's even got a touch of Freddy Krueger, it's got long fingers, but it's way more German expressionism than sort of 80s horror. In fact, at some points, there's a woman. One of the aspects of it, the actress who's the central lead in it, she's really fatigued, really tired, and she's kind of watching old horror films. And she's kind
why
of,
would you?
No, this is the thing. You just don't put on the TV and there's silent horror films on, are there? And I don't mean just a silent horror film. I mean this almost like montage of horror clips as she's kind of falling in and out of sleep. And in some of them, the Babadook's in the background, but others are like Nosferatu or the Phantom of the Opera. You know what I mean? It kind of mixing it all up. It was a great horror film. First, it was really well directed, and she gave a fantastic performance. 9 out of 10. It's on Netflix US, I think, at the minute. But it's definitely worth trying to catch. Anyway, just to talk about what in fact, I'll put it in the show notes.
I've seen a picture of him here. He stands kind of like Nosferatu.
Indeed, exactly. It's exactly like Nosferatu movies. And in fact, there was one bit in the film where the woman had to go into a cellar, and and the stairs kind of turn sharply right as you go out through the door and turn right. And as she went down the cellar and turned right, it really reminded me. There's a bit in Nosferatu where he does that same walk.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that she was a monster, but
I think I've seen a clip from this where a woman's like lying in bed and it pans back and like he's sort of in the bed like next to her but closer to the camera, and the covers are like over his head sort of thing. You can see his face.
I don't remember that in the film. It was based on an earlier short called Monster, which you can get on YouTube, I think, or Vimeo. Monster and the actor. The director's name is something like Julia Kent, or something like that.
Jennifer Kent.
Jennifer Kent. That's it. And it was called Monster, and actually the short is really good as well.
Okay, I'll watch it after this.
Actually, I want to talk about something else I just thought of. But it's definitely worth watching. The short gives you the feel of it, and in some ways the short's more directly scary because it's a short, so they have to get to the point really quick. Whereas Babadook was much more dread. They really balance, when you watch films that are just about dread or filled with dread before it gets to the point, sometimes that can go on too long, and you actually start to annoyed with the film because it's not delivering anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Babadook didn't do that. It perfectly balanced it all. It was really good, and with a great central performance. Yeah, with the Babadook, I actually went. I'll put it in the show notes, but I went on this other podcast, United Nations of Horror, to talk about Babadook for some considerable time, and it was 4 of us talking, so it was quite a round table discussion about this specific film. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and I went through some of the deeper themes of the film. And it's United Nations of Horror. It's only the 3rd episode. No, sorry, hold on. It might be fourth episode, the Babadook. I'll put a link in the show notes, as I say, and I'd really recommend going to listen to that, because pretty much, not all of us, but 3 out of the 4 of us really thought this film was fantastic. So there was a bit of diverse opinion on it, though. So I'll put a link to that into our show notes. One other thing I wanted to talk about, which I think I mentioned to you and Skype, there's a BBC 3 series called The Fear.
Oh yeah, The Fear.
And in fact, the first episode was really good. It's really worth watching. Just shows 4 horror shorts, and the audience then vote on how scary it is. But the first short was called Mr. Dream, and it was really similar to the Babadook.
Okay.
But it was good as well. It was really, in fact, I thought it was the best one. It didn't win, but it was second. But I thought it was by far the best one of the 4. But all 4 were pretty good.
Yeah.
It's just some of them look quite amateurish, but they were still quite good, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Whereas the Mr. Dream looked entirely professional to me.
Okay.
So try and catch that if you can. It's on the iPlayer.
I'll give that a bash.
Yeah, it's only half an hour, and it's 4 quite good horror shorts. The only downside of the whole thing is it's got quite an annoying host who has to make these little asides about the stuff. You know that TV show Rude Tube, where the guy shows YouTube clips and comments on them? You know how annoying he is?
I don't mind it.
I find him annoying. Well, this guy's like that. He's annoying that way.
Yeah.
But the other funny thing is they show the audience reactions as well. So you see the short, but you then see some of their reactions, so certainly when there's the jump scare or whatever, and it's kind of funny to see people's faces, especially as these guys are acting really cool. These young black guys from Hackney, like acting like they're not going to get scared and saying, "No, I'm not scared." But when they see something, they like freak right out. Super funny, super funny.
Something I suggest to you. There's this somewhat famous picture on the series of pictures on the internet of people getting their photos taken as they come up to the jump scare in like a haunted house.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Every single time the guy like throws his girlfriend in front of him or something like that, or they chuck someone in front of them.
Well. So
it's really
what's wrong
funny.
with that? Cool. All right, should we get on to our main feature, Dagon?
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
Get on with it!
Okay, so this is our second excursion into Lovecraft. We watched Haunted Palace a couple of months ago, I think, which was a variant of this on the H.P. Lovecraft story, The Strange Case of Charles Dexter Ward. This, even though it's called Dagon, and there is a Lovecraft story called Dagon, this was actually based much more a sort of modern updating of a Lovecraft story called The Shadow over Innsmouth,
which was kind of about Dagon as well. So.
Well, kind of. Dagon is the central deity, but it isn't. What I'm saying is, it isn't the story by Lovecraft called Dagon. It's Shadow over Innsmouth. Innsmouth is in both, though. Sorry, Dagon is in both, though. So 2001, this was made. Did you? Should we get to the film first, or should we talk about Lovecraft and the film? What do you think?
I don't mind.
What I'm getting at is, do you think it was a reasonable adaptation of Shadow over Innsmouth? Do you think it reflected the themes of
the alterations to it were kind of understandable, because you can't have in the film, you can't really have a narrator wobble on for I don't know, 8 pages of script just to detail something. So
in fact, I was going to read it again, but I didn't. I read I've read Shadow. In fact, Shadow over. What do you think of Shadow over Innsmouth as a story?
I think Shadow over Innsmouth is pretty good.
Pretty good.
I much prefer Call of Cthulhu. So.
I'm a big fan. I think Shadow over Innsmouth is probably my favourite Lovecraft story, actually. Which actually reminds me, you had a game, didn't you? Call of Cthulhu that was pretty much Shadow over Innsmouth as well. When you told me about it.
Watching this, it's like I can see elements of the game that they've put into this. I swear.
Well, you can tell us a bit. When we get into the film, you can tell us about that. We're going to have spoilers throughout, definitely. But to go back to the Lovecraft story, this felt like... I mean, the Lovecraft story is in 4 or 5 parts.
Call of Cthulhu was released 4 years later.
Maybe bits of this went into the game. The story was in 4 or 5 parts. The first part talking about this government sort of hidden conspiracy thing about burning the town down and stuff like that, and it goes on and on and on. And basically, the 4th part is this old guy who's part of the village telling the story of the village, and then the 5th part is him being chased and stuff like that, and finding out his roots in the village and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And to me, this film was pretty much those 2 parts, and they jettisoned the earlier stuff somewhat. It was kind of implied, and you didn't miss it. But it was there.
This is a bit more like more similar to a cabin in the woods sort of thing, where they just stumble across the town.
Yes,
which
indeed.
It's not called Innsmouth now. It's called
Ibarra.
Where is it?
Was it Ibarra?
In
Boca. That's right. It's in Spain as well. It's not in Maine, New England. It's in Spain. Let's talk about the beginning of the film. What was your first 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes? What was your feelings about it?
Mostly confusion, and then straight up hatred for the Barbara character.
Barbara was... Oh, I see.
Barbara was the brunette.
Her name wasn't Barbara, though, was it?
Her name's Barbara.
Oh, that's weird. I'd never picked up on that, because Barbara is the name of the female character. Sorry, the blonde character in Night of the Living Dead, who becomes catatonic for most of the film and takes no part in it. I wonder if that was a bleak reference. Anyway, she's not quite that bad, but we'll get to it. I started watching it, and I'd heard it was a reasonably good film, but tried to avoid reading too much about it. But I did know it was kind of based on Shadow over Innsmouth, and because I know that story backwards, I kind of thought, well, I'm going to kind of know what's happening. But the whole bit on the yacht where they're kind of arguing, and he was going on about his, he's rich, and he was going on about his binary. It either is true or it isn't true. He did this right. I thought it was a bit amateurish, and it felt like I was watching an amateur film, actually.
Yeah.
But
and then she just chucked all this stuff into the sea.
Yeah, it was kind of to try and make him relax a bit, which and he was going, I haven't got to back up and all this. He was some sort of computer guy, wasn't he? It wasn't entirely clear. And then the boat hits rocks, and everyone's it starts to go to crap. I've forgotten. Didn't he have a dream about a mermaid at the beginning?
Yeah, This is stupid.
Yeah, this is stupid. Though the woman who's the mermaid is very striking looking.
Yeah.
And we see her later actually, but you probably aren't familiar with this, but there was an actress in Italian horror in the early 60s, where the Italian cinema was kind of mimicking Hammer, but doing it in its own way. And she was in a lot of quite good films, and her name was Barbara Steele. If you Google Barbara Steele, you can see what she looks like, and you probably see my point. This actress reminded me very much of her. And she's famous for being very striking and good looking, but having slightly bigger eyes than you'd expect.
Yeah, I see it.
And this actress,
eyes are big.
This actress reminded me of that. She was very striking looking, very.
She feels familiar.
You've probably seen her in other films, she. Anyway, to get on back to this film, she appears as the mermaid, and the mermaid's got sharp, pointy teeth, which we've seen in something
as modern mermaids are wont to do.
Yeah, was that in Harry Potter or
that was in Peter Pan?
Peter Pan. I was trying to remember what I'd seen that in, but they have it in this first. So she's a mermaid, but in this dream, that was a bit odd. Anyway, he basically washes up on this town. No, they row to the town, don't they? I've forgotten how they got to the town.
They have like a little dinghy.
And they get to the town.
It's a motorised dinghy.
And it starts to get weird from the beginning. They notice the priest has got webbed hands.
Yeah.
And the locals are kind of covered up, and it's all a bit odd. But then it really goes to hell quick. At that point, I started liking the film a lot more, actually.
Yeah. I thought it was really sort of... They were really sort of forcing these peasants are weird sort of angle.
Yeah, but
especially
they were bloody
when she walked
weird.
on past that guy with the rake and he just started shaking it at her.
Yeah, but then it proceeds on. I can't. The guy was in the boat with him. Was it the older guy was in the boat with him? The thing is, I can't remember exactly. I know what happened to him, but I can't remember where he was when they got to the town. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's 4 of them. It's 2 women and 2 men. But our central guy is a young guy who's probably pretty intelligent. He sounds like he's got rich off his own intelligence. Did you notice what was on his shirt?
Yeah, Miskatonic.
Miskatonic University. Nice. I like that. Nice touch. They're in Spain.
That was a bit like, okay, just...
Yeah, we know. No, I like that. I like
a few
that.
more.
But then it really goes to shit because the locals are all proper mutants.
Yeah,
weird,
they've got like tentacles.
Tentacles. Some of them have got like tentacles off their face. They kind of got, some of them got fishy eyes.
Weird.
And basically it turns into they're hunting him around the town. And he's trying to get away. Which
is a sequence in the game. So
is a massive sequence in the story too, and it's probably the only. I reckon it's probably the most famous. Not famous. It's the best bit of action-based writing that Lovecraft ever did, because he wasn't big on action-based writing. He'd just tell you events. Or the consequences. But in this story, it actually tells you. And there's all the business with like trying to put the lock, knowing that something's going to try and come in. But in this one, they took it a bit further. It actually was, the lock had been busted off, so he was trying to screw it back on the door before they got to it, and all this weird business. And you kind of got flashes of them. What do you think of the noises they were making?
Well, they were shouting "Ya Ya Cthulhu Dagon."
They were shouting out, but they also had all these various animal noises, weren't they? Like, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like animalistic noises. And he bumps into this old fella who starts kind of screaming, but he drags him. He's got this tiny little penknife to try and defend himself.
Zeke. I think he only ever calls himself Ezekiel.
Yeah, and he's the
old Zeke.
yeah, Zeke, but which is like a reference, I think, to the
Bible,
the biblical character Ezekiel and his visions of God and wheels of fire and stuff like this. And he tells him the story that the town wasn't doing well, and this guy claimed that he knew about this other god that could be worshipped, who would bring them prosperity. And then as soon as they all started worshipping this other god, Dagon, they started getting prosperous, and got gold articles started washing up on the beach and stuff like that.
Yeah.
which is similar, but not the same.
I kind of sort of bought that until they showed the guy later in like massive golden robes with a big ornate knife, and
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I liked all that myself. You weren't a fan?
no, I think they were trying a bit too hard to make him look weirdly ornate.
Yeah, I did like the whole sequence where they basically
It
turn
looked
their
like
back on
something out of
God.
old Warhammer, really.
Oh, out of what?
Warhammer.
Really? Oh,
than
okay,
it.
all right.
Yeah, I can show you pictures of something. Stuff
Okay,
like that.
and there was a sequence where these villagers, where Zeke's telling you the story, where the villagers decide they're going to completely worship Dagon, and they start smashing up the church. And doesn't this fisherman that's told them about Dagon, he bashes the head of the priest in, doesn't he, or something like that? Basically, they're smashing up the church, and they erect an altar to Dagon at that point, who's got like an eye symbol, and that brings prosperity.
I
But
think it's Dagon's symbol.
no, well, whatever. That was the one used in the film. Then they, when things get hard, they then have to start making A, sacrifices to Dagon, and B, mating women with Dagon. Which ties more to the. I mean, the original story. It's not about Dagon as such, is it? It's more about these.
It's the
Is it
deep
old ones? The deep ones. That's it. Who are like amphibious creatures that live in under the sea, who have come out to mate with the women at the village, and then produce these offspring that are human at the beginning.
But then they become deep ones.
So they become deep ones as they get older. And they reference in this story. There's a lot of him running around and hiding in houses and finding different things in different houses. There's one house he goes in after he encounters Zeke, and there's like water coming out. The floor's all wet, and there's frogs crawling on him and stuff like that. And there's a young lad in it. Who starts shouting, and he's talking in Spanish, so we can't understand it, but you get the meaning. And then basically his father comes out. We encounter some of the slightly ropier effects in this. I mean, the CG is not great in places in this.
No.
And the rubber
It's pretty
tentacles
bad.
aren't that great either. Sometimes it works, but mostly the rubber tentacles look like big rubber tentacles.
Yeah.
But there's a man with sharp teeth. He was the one, I think, on one of the posters. He's like a bald, hairless man, massive sharp teeth, and like tentacles for arms, I think.
Yeah,
And,
it's
and-
weird.
And the guy kind of fights him and then runs out again. And then we see him find Zeke again. And he basically wants to know whether he's seen a car in the town, wants to know about it. And Zeke said, that belongs to so and so, all this, the master or something. And he's got this guy is lucky because, he's trapped in a town full of mutants, but they're all a bit slow.
Yeah.
So he can outrun them. That's one of the. I mean, that kind of works well as a dynamic. In some respects, it feels a bit like a zombie films, but the zombies are intelligent.
Yeah.
Or they're mutants, rather than zombies. And he tries to hotwire the car while Zeke actually helps him to distract him, because at one point he says to Zeke, "I've got two choices: I can kill you or I can trust you." And then he starts another speech, and then I've got two more choices. And just as about to say, Zeke obviously gets fed up with this line and actually walks out towards the guys that are guarding the car and starts like acting like a drunk, and then leading them away. So the guy then crawls in the car and tries to hotwire it, but actually sets the horn off. Then he runs into the house and he encounters the woman of his dreams, which is kind of a cool sequence. I kind of liked it. When he met her, I thought that was a really good horror sequence, because she was kind of really attractive, but eerily attractive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She had that Morticia Adams quality.
Yes, indeed. And like I say, she reminded me a lot of Barbara Steele. She was a very striking actress. Good. She was good in the part too, I think. And then they started kissing. She said, I can't remember what she said. Didn't they just start kissing? He couldn't kind of help himself.
I can't remember. The ending of this film just annoyed me no end. So
Did
it's
it
kind
really?
of black. Yeah.
That's a shame. But basically, the covers fall back, and we find out she's got tentacles for legs.
Yeah.
And he freaks out.
Really badly done tentacles.
Yeah, they are quite badly done. And then he runs away again. But he's after. But also earlier, Zeke had told him everyone else had died. I forgot to mention he goes into this place where there's like pigs' heads hanging, and then he realizes there's a human skin hanging, and he recognizes one of them. It's the guy that was on the boat with him.
Yeah.
So they've obviously
Basically, on the boat, it was two couples. It was him, this poor guy, the main character, and his girlfriend, and then like an older couple,
Yeah.
Howard and Barbara, I think. Honey. No, wait.
Yeah.
Barbara was the girlfriend. It was
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Vicky, I think
anyway,
it was.
so
Whatever.
he sees the man skin, and the Zeke also tells him the women are dead.
Yeah.
So he thinks everyone's dead, but then there's a realization. I think Zeke might. Oh no. Well, basically, he encounters the women. They're both alive. Zeke explains I think he says something like, I just wanted you to get away to not worry about them. They were dead anyway, so you might as well just escape. And we find out the other woman has kind of been mated with something. Dagon, in fact. And they want the offspring of the woman, and all this, that, and the other. And it's like, and she wants to die. Anyway, they try and get away, and then they get surrounded. The woman gets a knife and pretty much immediately kills herself because she can't live with it. Stabs herself, and then his girlfriend Vicky, is it? We think, or Barbara.
Barbara is the younger girl.
Barbara then gets carried away, and like there's all sorts of shenanigans, and essentially they get dragged to a place of worship where the girl's been sliced up by. Sorry, the girlfriend, Barbara's been sliced up. Well, in a shallow way, she's got cuts on her, but they're not fatal or anything.
They want blood, they don't want death, really.
Yeah, the woman we saw earlier with the tentacles for legs, all dressed up in gold. Is that the bit that annoyed you?
No, the real end, the proper ending, the right at the end, really annoyed me.
Okay, and then we got all these fishy guys. I liked all this. Did you like it? Did you not like it?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I'm an advocate for practical effects, so I kind of have to. But,
even though they were bad practical effects, they were still better than the CG.
Yeah,
which we saw.
Almost every bit of CG in this film looked awful.
The CG looked a bit like Birdemic, frankly, level of CG. It was. There's
a bit where the weird girl. I'm looking at her name on Wikipedia. I don't know, Uxia.
Okay,
Uxia, something like that.
She's
There's
Spanish.
A bit where she slithers across the ground. It looks.
Oh yeah, we see her from behind, don't we? You see her bottom, well, a CG bottom, and the legs, and but basically they're going to dip this woman in a pit. They're
going to sacrifice her to Dagon.
Well, it's not sacrifice. She's going to mate with Dagon because she does say your child will be immortal and stuff like this. Anyway, the guy managed to fight them all off by throwing kerosene or petrol around.
Yeah,
and
he
set
goes
them
all
alight.
Rambo on them.
Yeah, and he tries to save her, and she kind of says, "Kill me." You promised me you kill me, because she's asked him to kill her if it happened to her earlier in the film. And anyway, Dagon comes screaming out of this pit of what's it, and basically. She gets pulled in, but you see her arms are still attached to the hanging ropes. So basically, she's been they're down to the elbows. The rest of her's been removed. Again, I don't think he ate her. It was more like he was planning to mate her. I think he probably did actually.
I think that was
because we don't see her again, do we?
The blood in the water stuff.
And then out of kind of nowhere, the master appears, and he's got like tentacly. Well, it's kind of covered, but it's got weird tentacly face or something, and he kind of recognizes the man and says, you're the. Basically, it's implied he's the son of a woman that was mated with him before.
They do put proper shadow over intimate stuff.
So he is.
The narrator is one of the monsters,
and then that's why he was dreaming about the mermaid and was drawn to the place or something. And he realizes what he is too. He can see the truth in it, so he pours petrol over himself.
See, I like this bit. I really like this bit. This would have been a good ending where he just like burns himself. That's it. That would have been great because he's made steps against the Elder God.
Yeah, I think you're
no, they
right.
have
I
to-
think it would
they
have been a
have to
good
sort of
ending.
wrap it up in a weird.
I didn't mind the ending after this, but I agree this would have been a good ending if it had just ended with him burning himself and maybe him taking the rest of the town out at the same time.
Yeah.
But he burns himself, and then does he get pushed or does he jump
Yeah,
into the water?
the woman pushes him into the pit with Dagon.
And she jumps after him.
She jumps in as well, and then he suddenly grows gills.
Yeah, his body starts to split and blood's pouring out from under his ribs, isn't it, and stuff like
Yeah,
this.
they're gills.
He's all burnt out, by the way.
Yeah,
as
so
well.
he's all like fleshy and disgusting.
Yeah,
point.
and then
Also, doesn't a petrol fire continue to burn underwater?
no, it's got no oxygen on it.
Yeah.
No, it won't. And she jumps in and she's like, did she strip down again? You certainly said tentacles.
Yeah, she goes naked. She goes
and
completely
then
naked.
she kind of leads him somewhere, and he swims with her, and they start going towards what is a massive
It's a pit.
eye symbol of Dagon, which
Yeah.
we've seen in the church earlier, and then it ends.
Yeah. See, this is my problem. These fish people have ruined his life, and even if he's revealed to be one of them, why would he go with them?
I don't know.
I can understand in India.
Fire's
he
inspirational,
went
maybe.
completely berserk at the end. He was nuts.
Yeah, you're right. It
But
doesn't
this guy's
tie up.
like he's aware. He's aware enough to know that what he is shouldn't really exist, and burns himself.
Yeah,
Well, he tries
you're
to.
right.
And then,
You're right.
and then I'll go with it.
However, the whole third act is a fever dream, really, and I kind of liked it for that. So I had no real problems with the ending because it was so wacky and way out at that point. Anyway, I didn't really mind, but I kind of see your point that him just burning himself would have been a better final ending. Or the other
has
possibility,
the dark finality of throwing yourself into an asylum, or
it would have been better also. I mean, another way it would have worked is when he wakes up underwater and sees he's changing, him then try to again kill himself, but then Dagon drag him in and it ends.
Yeah.
That would have worked too. But the fact is he kind of just went swimming towards Dagon at the end.
yeah,
It was odd. I kind of see that,
this
but
is happening now.
even so, I really liked it. I really like this film. I think, to me, I've seen a few films that are Lovecraftian. I think this is probably the closest you get to the spirit of Lovecraft that's been made. However, I haven't seen them all, so I don't know for sure. But it felt very close. It felt closer than Haunted Palace, which was quite close.
yeah,
And I've seen a few others like Reanimator, which again are similar, but definitely not quite that thing. The whole obsession with, them mutate, the whole thing of them mutating and becoming more fish-like felt way more Lovecraft than some other stuff I've seen. If they'd have changed it a bit to be more about mating with these amphibious creatures, it would have been spot on. They changed it a bit to basically Dagon started changing people, wasn't it, rather than but though they did say that women mated with Dagon, so it's kind of there, but in the original it's not Dagon, it's the deep ones.
Yeah.
that they're
Well,
mating
the
with.
deep ones are a knock-on effect of Dagon mating with women.
Yeah, I guess so. Yes, it was kind of. They were a bit further down the line though than Dagon
Yeah.
directly, weren't they?
It was like multiple generations of stuff, and
and
if
there
you
was-
weren't a deep one, you were a weird villager.
And there was some weird stuff in this, like the woman said to him, "You're my brother, and you will be my lover," and stuff like that, which kind of was dark and weird and kind of cool.
I think that was just it's even weirder.
Yeah, let's throw in some incest. Not only are we half fish, we're going to throw in a bit of incest.
Because this isn't messed up enough already.
Yeah. I kind of liked it. You sound like you didn't like it so much.
It was okay until that last bit.
Yeah, I've talked about this on other podcasts. Sometimes the last few minutes of a horror film ruin the film.
Yeah.
It just happens. There's some bit that you think, oh man, they've copped out. This is so inconsistent. I can't enjoy this. And for me it wasn't, but for you it was that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's very annoying. It's quite annoying that.
Not even the last 5 minutes, the last minute.
It's kind of like if you want to show it to someone, you're going to just say, right, we're stopping here. That's the end of the film. Right, you don't want to see anymore.
Think in Dracula, if Mina Harker towards the end just suddenly went, I'm okay with this.
Yeah, it would just be annoying. Okay, what would you give it out of 10?
I'd give this a 5.
Oh, that low. Oh,
Yeah.
that hurts. I'll give it an 8. I think we fundamentally disagree on this.
Yeah.
I really liked it. Okay, let's try this
Ooh,
again.
I'm actually closer to the
Yeah, I bet you are.
56%
All
on
right.
Rotten Tomatoes.
If it had ended with the guy pouring petrol over himself, what would you have rated it?
I'd have probably given it 7.5, maybe.
All right, we would have been a bit closer then. But the ending really
Yeah.
sucked it out.
That was-
sucked out the joy for you, did it?
I mean, even if he had just burnt himself, that would have been closer to Shadow over Innsmouth, because eventually the guy in Innsmouth, the narrator, kills himself in the asylum.
Yes, he does, doesn't he? Yes. There is. I mean, it was a particular obsession of Lovecraft. I mean, I think this is one of the reasons this one feels so close to Lovecraft, because it really hits some of those key obsessions that he had throughout his literature. I would also, all right, if you didn't like the film, I'd recommend to any listeners that haven't read it, is go read the story. It's, I think, about 100 pages. It's quite a short.
It's one of the most delightfully messed up things.
It is a great read. It's free on the internet because it's out of it's out of copyright now. So you could just Google it and you could find the whole story on a web page. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you search on YouTube hard enough, you could probably get someone like really good narrating it. Like, just off the top of my head, you could probably find like with The Raven. Now you can find like Christopher Lee and Vincent Price.
Yeah, there's some awesome Ravens. I'm sure you could. I did find one link on YouTube, which I sent you, but when I actually listened back, it was like a theatre production. It didn't sound very good, so I didn't carry on.
Yeah, I had one that I listened to before, which was what makes it spooky is that they usually put like a still image as like a backdrop while they do the audio.
Yeah.
This one just had like a silhouette of a deep one.
Right.
Just really spooky.
Cool.
I just be like playing my game. It's like, how was it? Oh, whoa. Yeah. So.
Okay then. I think we'll wind out there. Now next week, almost certainly we're going to be talking about Spectre. Just so everyone knows, we're going to go see Spectre
probably
next week. So we'll be talking about that. So bye from me.
Bye.